everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Navs Effect. I'm your host, Naveen Ganglani. So we have a fun episode here today. I got to speak with LA Casinillo, one of the incoming standouts who's going to play for National University in UAAP Season 86. LA was actually supposed to play for NU in Season 85 last year, but was deemed ineligible before the season started, and that's why he had to sit out. But now he is going to join what's going to be a loaded rotation of guards that NU Bulldogs are going to have in their quest to potentially make it back to the UAAP Final Four, and who knows, maybe even the UAAP Finals if things break right for that team. So that was a really fun interview with LA, who spent some time in the UK before coming back to the Philippines and then committing to NU after he had previously committed to UST. So there's a whole story there, a whole journey of what led the LA to the Bulldogs that he goes into detail about. And it was a fun interview. It was fun to chat with him, and you will want to check that out. But before we get to the interview, I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk about one of the teams I cover, which is the Miami Heat in the NBA. So I'm recording this Sunday, a little bit after lunch in Manila. And the Heat just played 2 games this weekend. They played yesterday against the Cavaliers at home. They won. They did lose to Cleveland at home also 2 days before that game. And then they wound up beating the Cavaliers. And then today, in the second night of a back-to-back, they lose to the Orlando Magic. The Heat have dropped to, I believe it's 36-33. They're 4-6 in their last 10 games. From all the top 10 teams in the Eastern Conference, they are the only one with a negative differential at minus 0.8. They're still number 7 in the standings. That's in the play-in situation. They're a game and a half ahead of the Atlanta Hawks, who also lost today to the Boston Celtics, but they are 3 games behind Brooklyn and New York, who are number 5 and 6 in the standings respectively. So what's been honestly a crappy season for the Miami Heat continues to be crappy. And a lot of my followers who listen to my podcast or read my articles or follow me on social media follow me because of my Heat coverage, because a lot of you are probably Miami Heat fans as well. You follow this team. And, my main takeaway after today's game against the Magic, by the way, the Heat were down about 15 points with a few minutes, but half a quarter left to go in the fourth quarter. Not surprising there. They've found themselves trailing opposing teams all season long. In fact, the Heat against the worst teams in the Eastern Conference here, they're 6-8 against the teams with the 5 worst records in the Eastern Conference. That's incredibly pathetic. I mean, 6-8 against the worst teams in the East when you were number 1 seed in the conference last season and you almost made the NBA Finals. It's horrible. Now, they do compete well against the best teams in the conference too, but then they have also shown the capability to lose to anyone. In fact, they've lost more than they've won against the worst teams of their conference, and that is one of the main reasons why they are as down in the standings as they are. And my main takeaway after today's Magic game was it's just such a shame that all these incredible Jimmy Butler performances are going to waste. And Jimmy has been awesome. In that game against Cleveland yesterday, he was doing everything: jumpers, drives, floaters, dishing the ball to teammates for good looks, defense, and elite free throw shooting, getting to the line and making free throws, as well as making the right plays, being a veteran savvy guy, knowing when to foul at the right time. He did all of this. And again, he was spectacular against Orlando. He led that late comeback in the fourth quarter when it looked like a sure loss. He hits this off-balance three-pointer where his legs are going in different directions to tie the game, send it to OT. Then for some reason, Butler does not take a single shot in overtime. And the Heat go down by like 11, 12 points and just give up at the end of the game. One of the resounding moments from the end game in OT against Orlando was Jimmy walking off the court before the game ended, leaving Miami with only 4 players on the court. And before they could get a sub in, as Jimmy, like I said, walked to the locker room before the game ended, was the Heat got technical fouls. Spolstra was saying after the game that I guess he had a little beef with one of the game's officials who wanted to get one up on him at the end of the game, which is why the game official called a technical foul. Of course, Tyler Hero also was battling food poisoning. The Heat lost Cody Zeller, one of their after trade deadline acquisitions. He broke his nose today. Caleb Martin, who had been playing fantastic, especially on defense, wasn't playing today. and Victor Oladipo was missing every shot he took. Victor Oladipo's three-point shot is so bad now that when he takes a jumper from deep, the other team should be thanking him for doing so. That's how bad it is right now for his jump shooting, and how he can sometimes hijack the offense and it works to the favor of the opposing team. But who was really disappointing today? By the way, Kyle Lowry made his return today. I thought he was good in limited minutes. He wasn't great, but he hasn't been great all season. But I thought he hit some big shots, made some defensive stops, and he didn't hurt the Heat, which, given how bad he was playing in some games this season, you'll take that. But the person who I think was really disappointing today was Bam Adebayo. And if you've been following my work, you know that I've been a fan of Bam's progression this season, how he's been a justified all-star with the way he's played. But he was crappy today. Lethargic, the body language was off. The defense, which is normally his strong suit, was horrible. Like Wendell Carter Jr. was outplaying him. He was catching Bam out of position, shooting over Bam, getting rebounds over him. And ever since Bam complained that the media doesn't favor him for the Defensive Player of the Year award, his defense from the eye test alone has just fallen off a cliff. And it's one of the reasons why the Heat has one of the worst NBA defensive ratings over the last few weeks. The team has really suffered from his dip of production in the defensive end. And there are just new problems that arise over and over again for this team. They keep finding new creative ways to lose games, to screw games up, to find themselves in a big deficit. Even that game against Cleveland yesterday, they were in a big deficit and they won in part because Darius Garland wasn't playing, because Jared Allen left the game with a few minutes left. And still, Cleveland had a great chance to win because they went up big against a Miami Heat team that's supposed to be elite, supposed to be contending for a championship, but they're not. The worst part of all of this is Jimmy's amazing. Jimmy's playing as good as anyone in the NBA right now. And casual NBA fans might not realize that or acknowledge that because they don't watch the Heat often. But if you watch Jimmy night in, night out, what he does on both sides of the floor, he can be the best player in a championship team. He just doesn't have the pieces around him right now to help the Heat contend for a championship. And that goes back to what's been a horrible season for the Heat front office. Pat Riley, with all due respect for all the stuff he's done in the past, this has been a disaster. They didn't replace PJ Tucker. They tried to put Caleb Martin in that fourth position. And it was clear when Caleb went back to playing the wing position off the bench that that was what he was supposed to do the whole time. And even the guys that they got, they didn't make any trades when it was clear to anyone with two eyes that they needed to make a trade to improve this team. Instead, they go for Kevin Love, whose shooting has just absolutely disappeared, whose defense is still horrible. It's like being guarded by a cone out there when he's in front of opposing guards. The best pickup has been Cody Zeller. He just broke his nose. I mean, it's ridiculous. And Jimmy's been the constant. He's the guy who's having arguably the best regular season of his life. The effectivity, he's shooting above 60% since the All-Star break. And he just had a season high today, 38 points. He's doing everything. Everything. Like I said, scoring, floaters, drives to the rim, mid-range pull-ups, even three-pointers, like a three to tie the game earlier, getting to the foul line, putting his body on the line, the defense, the leadership, everything. And it's all going to waste. They're 36-33. They're not winning a championship. They're probably not winning a playoff round. Who knows if they even get out of the play-in? Who knows if they might fall out of the play-in race? At this point, anything is possible with this team. It's been incredibly disappointing. Spoelstra hasn't been perfect too compared to the last few years. And honestly, that's no fault of his at this point. The roster he's been given with is lacking. Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, Duncan Robinson, all of these guys have fallen off a cliff. Tyler Hero has had these moments, but like I said, they had food poisoning, and in some games, you don't know if he's going to go off like he did against Cleveland or if he's going to be silent. And Bam, again, today, horrible. Losing the ball in passes, missing defensive assignments, turnover after turnover, Oladipo missing shot after shot after shot. This team has no shooting. This team has a rebounding problem. This team's best attack is give Jimmy Butler the ball and let him figure it out at this point. Because, Bam was reliable, but since the All-Star break, he hasn't been. So at this point, right now, Jimmy's really the only reliable guy that they have. And you can see the effects of that in their record and in their play. This is who they are. They are mediocre. And it's tough to say given how well they played last season, how they came so close, and that was a championship contender last season. They were a team that played together. Collectively, they were awesome, and now they're not. And this season, who knows? Maybe they end it still with a little winning streak. Maybe they give an opposing team in the first round some issues if they get out of the play-in. But the Heat front office, the people who make the decisions behind roster moves, they have a lot to atone for this offseason. Because that look on Jimmy's face when he left the court today, that was not a happy look. And at this point, if he demanded the trade, I wouldn't blame him. I don't think he would, because all signs show that he loves Miami. He loves being the franchise guy of the Heat. But how much patience will he have? This is a guy who deserves a chance to compete for a championship. And the front office the past year hasn't shown the ability to give him the team to help compete for a championship. And if they don't want to see Jimmy destroying them wearing another team's jersey, they better fix things up and quickly. Now, before we get to this interview with LA that I talked about, I just want to go through some recent recruitment news. LeBron Nieto, of course, a standout for Ateneo's high school program, was seen participating in the Blue Eagles tune-up game against San Beda and has been practicing with the Blue Eagles. So it isn't officially formal yet, but all signs point to LeBron committing to the Ateneo Blue Eagles. Of course, his brothers Mike and Matt won championships with Ateneo as well. There's a lot of Ateneo history in that family. For the De La Salle Green Archers, they do attain the services of Central Escolar University foreign student athlete Henry Agunane, who will join DLSU beginning season 87. Bright Noanco is going to play one more season, and Henry comes in season 87. And of course, Matthew Rubico of LPU Cavite in the NCAA high school division has committed to LaSalle, joining Coach Topex Robinson's team. LaSalle is busy with recruitment. So is UP, so is Ateneo, so is UST. Trust me, UST. And there are a ton of recruits out there who we will see on display in the NBTC tournament coming up. We've got recruits from the United States, the Filipino-American standouts such as Sean Alter, Jacob Baila, Zayn Mahmoud, and so many of the guys that Phil Am Nation is bringing in. We have our local guys participating too. Seven Gagate, Luis Pablo of LaSalle Green Hills, of course, Jared Bahay from Cebu. There are 4 universities hot on the recruitment trail for Bahay, who has 1 year of high school left, but this is a potential game changer. So you're going to find out why soon enough. And we got so many other guys. Reinhard Jumamoy of NU's high school program. He committed to NU seniors team. His high school career ended when NU lost to FEU in the UAAP High School Final Four. So there's a lot of big time recruits out there right now, and a lot of schools are, let's just say, interested to find a way to get them to their programs. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there for now. Let's go to the interview. Hope you all enjoy.
The UAAP is back for its second semester sports. Make sure to check out Get Blued for all your staple Team Ateneo gear, and of course for your men's basketball championship shirt in case you haven't gotten it yet. Visit Get Blued on social media and their stores at Shopee Mall and Laz Mall. And remember, always buy original.
Okay, now joining me is L.A. Casinillo, who is set to make his debut in the UAAP Seniors Division in 2023 UAAP Season 86 with the NU Bulldogs. L.A. was actually supposed to make his debut in Season 85 last UAAP season, but due to ineligibility as determined by the board and some lack of papers, we're going to get into that more later, LA wasn't able to make his NU debut just yet. However, the excitement is there for his debut, particularly because of the way LA performed in the last Phil Oil Preseason Cup. And now the NU Bulldogs, who made the UAAP Final Four last season, is set to have another major recruit join the team in their hope and mission of making it back to the UAAP Finals. LA, thanks for joining me, bro. How are you? Kamusta ka naman?
Doing fine naman po. Thank you for having me in this podcast po.
You're welcome, bro. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate too. LA, so I believe before you came back to the Philippines in 2022, you trained in the UK in London for around 2 years, right?
Yes po. I was training with my dad, and then there was this academy team which was an under 19 team. Parang college siya tawag dun sa sa UK, but it's a whole different curriculum there. in terms of education. So yeah, I played there, played against foreigners like British people, and it was a good experience, and looking forward to apply that experience here in the Philippines.
Yeah, I also want to shout out Bayanihan Elite, of course, one of the training programs in the UK for Filipino ballers who helps the Philippine basketball standouts there have a chance to play college basketball here, such as LA. So LA, how is it now na you know you're going to be debuting for the Bulldogs in a few months? Of course, you guys are back at practices, you have tune-up games. I know nakalaban niyo yung CSB recently in a tune-up match. And playing for Coach Jeff, obviously, there's going to be a lot of discipline required, a lot of commitment and dedication to both sides of the floor. So in terms of your role with the Bulldogs and how you fit in with this team entering season 86, how do you like how it's looking?
So as of the moment, I'm still at that point where I'm trying to fit in into the system. Because last year there wasn't Kian wasn't there, and the other players. So as of now, I'm still trying to fit in, see what my role would be in the team. But as far as what I can say, sa system ni Coach Jeff, it's very more on defense based, because yung mindset kasi ni Coach Jeff na offense will come, just focus on defense. So in the UK, let's just say na I wasn't really a defensive type of player, so that's gonna be a huge adjustment as of now. And yan yung ano, dahilan because why Coach Jeff scold me a lot. That's defense. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I was gonna ask nga, what's it like to be on the other end of a Jeff Napa scolding? Because di ba nakakatuwa siya, mahilig siya mag-joke, pero of course nagagalit din siya when the system isn't being followed. So how do you take in all of that?
Listen lang talaga, because it's a good thing when Coach Jeff tells you off, kasi that shows na he sees something in you. So yeah, just listen, take in his advice and apply it. Because yung dad ko din kasi, he's also like a Coach Jeff type of guy. Like he tells you off, like he screams at you din. So medyo sanay at that department. So yeah, yun lang, just listen to Coach Jeff and apply it. You know.
Great, great. I'm sure you're going to learn from that tutelage, of course. Now, you mentioned the point guard position. You're 6 foot, I think 6 feet flat, right? Is your height right now. So 6 feet point guard. And obviously, when you look at the Bulldogs, there are two standout point guards in the team already. Si Kian Baclaan and si Steve Nash Enriquez in particular. But si Coach Jeff, he doesn't mind playing both of them at the same time, which makes me think na there could be a chance that kasabay mo si Kian on the court, kasabay mo si Steve. Who knows, maybe the three of you might even be there on the court together at the same time, especially for fast break attacks. That would come in very handy. Or who knows, we might even see you run a unit by yourself. I'm assuming you're going to come off the bench in your first season with the team.
Yes.
But in terms of the point guard rotation, you, Kian, Steve, do you feel you're going to add to one of the strengths of the team, which, like I said, is that depth at the point guard position?
I feel like I can, because at the same time I was also trained to play too, because that I back in Ateneo de Cebu, I was playing shooting guard. So hopefully if me, Kian, or Nash magkasabay kami, back up sa kanila, and we'll just complement each other lang. If I see something, example, Kian or Nash is doing wrong, I'm gonna talk to them about it, and hopefully matulungan ko sila in the court.
Also worth noting that Reynard Jumamoy, a standout for NU's high school program, recently committed to the seniors program, which means that you're going to add even more talent to a team that came close last year. Well, not close, but had a chance of making the UAAP Finals. Lumamang pa nga NU in those final minutes against UP in the Final Four. And NU is clearly on the rise. It's a program that might not get the attention as some of the other programs in the UAAP, but they're always competitive and they're always trying to make it all the way to the Final Four and perhaps even the finals. And maybe we'll see that this season. Of course, there's a lot of time to go. But I want to go back in time a little bit, LA. So you won the Sasafi MVP in 2019 when you were playing in Cebu, and at first you committed to the UST Growling Tigers before choosing to go to NU instead. So take us through that decision process. What led you to National University?
So, yes, yun nga, when I won the MVP dun sa 2019 in Cebu, UST recruited me, and supposedly I was gonna play my last high school year for the Tiger Cubs, but unfortunately the pandemic came in. So we decided as a family, since my mom was already there in the UK, that we would me and my dad would go to the UK to stay there during the pandemic, because at that time we weren't financially stable because of the pandemic. So yeah, trained there for a bit, and then UST coach Gino, he wanted me to go back during the what season was it? 84, I think, the last season.
84. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, he wanted me to go back, but I wanted to stay because I felt like I wasn't in good condition. I wasn't that ready to play for
UAAP.
UAP just yet, so I decided to stay. And then fast forward, when the lockdown started to ease there in the UK, I played for that academy team, the under 19 team, and had more exposure there. And then that's when other offers came in, such as NU. And during that time, UST wasn't really, they had no coach. Like
When
the
you
man,
originally committed to UST, that was when it was Alden Ayo pa, di ba?
it was during Alden
So,
Ayo, yeah.
so you, the coach you committed to wasn't there also anymore.
Yeah, he wasn't there anymore. And then yeah, I also didn't know kung sino pa yung magiging head coach ng seniors.
UST.
Yeah, so yeah, and then NU came in, and I felt like NU had good plans for me, and I feel like as a player on and off the court, I could develop and be better dun sa NU. So
In
I chose
addition
NU.
to NU, who else tried to recruit you when you came back from London?
I had some contacts such as like FEU and Adamson, but yeah, as a family, we decided to stay with with NU.
Right, right. So before we get more into basketball, I'm very curious. What is the difference of living in, let's say, Manila or Cebu compared to living in London? Because for starters, I know the food in the UK is really good. Fish and
Mm.
chips, pork and beans.
Yep,
So
definitely.
what's life like there? I mean, and the weather's different, the people are
Uh,
different. Yeah.
like it's totally different compared to London, because yes, you got the weather is it's very cold out there, especially during winter time. I'd be training in like I'd be wearing 3 layers of clothes just to train. Um,
Wow.
yeah, it's very cold there, and then the food wise, it's very good, but iba talaga kung if you're eating rice, because British people aren't really like
Rice
into rice a
people.
lot. Yeah, yeah, and then
They like shepherd's pie, pork
yes,
and
yeah.
beans.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the beans, yeah, the sausages, stuff like that. And then here in Manila, I guess there's no place like home. So if I were to choose between Manila and Manila, Cebu, or London,
London.
yeah, I'd choose the Philippines, especially say yeah, yun nga, there's no place like home.
Dahil may kanin tayo dito.
May kanin din, and then hospitality, and then knowing that your family is still here, your relatives. Yeah, it's better here talaga for me.
Where else in the UK did you get to travel to aside from London? Did you go to any cities nearby, any towns nearby, or were you stationed in London the whole time?
Actually, I wasn't actually in London, but my mom and dad don't live in London. They're from Wales, which is like
Okay, okay, yeah,
yeah, an
Wales.
hour, 1 hour and a half journey to train journey to from London. But I'm always in London because that's where the Bayanihan Elite is based. So I'm always there to train and play games with I'm not sure if you know him, Kuya Terence Mustre from
Yeah,
Adams.
of
Yeah,
course,
yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
used to play with them, and also Josh Barcelona from Adamson.
Right,
And then
right. How's Terence doing? What's he doing now back in the UK?
he's got a big stomach now.
I don't think he bowls anymore, right?
He does just for ano lang, just papawis lang ganun. And he
Okay.
does, it's not as serious as compared to before. Yeah, habang nandito siya sa Pinas. And then yeah, sa other towns I also stayed in this place called Southampton
Oh,
for a
okay,
year.
yeah.
yeah, that's where I played the academy basketball.
Great. So it seems like you were well traveled a little bit, which is of course
All over the
always
place.
good for a basketball player. That's something that's constant in your careers. So I want to go back to UAAP season 86 now. And it was exciting to see what you were capable of because you particularly played well in the Phil Oil preseason tournament. In fact, there was a game against UP at that time, the UAP defending champions, where you really stood out and you really played well. I am now going to show some highlights of that performance you had. So here you are. That's a nice pass, of course. While we're just checking these highlights out, I just want to make sure that everyone gets to see what you were capable of. No, were you at that point already expecting that you were going to play season 86 basketball? And did it come as a shocker when you found out that you were deemed ineligible to play?
In the UK, I wasn't aware of this residency rule. I'm not really familiar with like the rules in the UAP here. So yeah, during while I was playing sa Philol and the other preseason leagues, I was just I was really expecting to play, and I found my spot there sa team because I was able to play well. And then yeah, after that UP game, that's when I
Sorry,
found out.
sorry. Nice shot, by the way. Just wanted to tell you that. Nice shot. Anyway, keep going.
Thank you. Yeah. After that game, this UP game, that's when I found out that, like, my chances of playing in the UAP for season 85 were 50-50. So after this game, like, I was kind of parang distracted na ako doon kasi I had that toxic mindset where like if I play good, there's no point because like baka I won't be able to play in the UAP. So
Yeah.
parang yeah, there was this negative mindset that I had in me. So yeah, yun nga, tough one to be honest.
Yeah, I'm sure because it's hard to just go about your day, your routine, knowing that maybe what you're doing will end up being not really for naught, but end up being delayed, which happened to be the
Yeah.
case. So the reason why you were deemed ineligible is because you had enrolled in a college previously. Was that report correct?
Yes, I enrolled in UST po last August 2020.
2021. Were you
I,
taking
I was
on you were
I was
taking online classes sa
online
UST?
last. Ano lang po, I basically just enrolled lang po kasi I was also studying doon sa academy sa UK. And then I had that mindset na parang I guess back up lang siguro ganun in case because I had that mindset din na baka there would be no other schools that would recruit me. So I just stay 1 year, like 1 year sa UK and then go back sa UST. But yun nga, pumunta yung blessing sa NU and then that's what happened po.
So how many years of eligibility would you have? Would you have 5 years still or 4 years?
I'm not really sure to be honest, but from what I heard, since I wasn't able to play any UAP games or
Game.
something, I think five pa siguro, but worst case, 4 years na lang po.
So you just have to finalize yung residency mo and then you're good to go na. Hopefully for
Yun pa.
5 years.
Hopefully 5 years.
Fantastic. How do you feel about the fact that you're joining a team that is ready to compete? Because NU, shall we say, was the surprise team of the UAP last season. Well, not a surprise for those who follow the Bulldogs, because also NU won the Phil Oil Preseason Cup and won preseason tournament. So because those who follow the Bulldogs had an idea what they were capable of, and then NU beat UP, LaSalle, and Ateneo in the elimination round as well. I'm not sure. I think you might have beaten all teams. So it was there. It was right there. The chance to compete for a championship. It just so happened there was like a late season losing stretch that dropped NU from having a twice to beat seed. And then that's why you were in number 3. But you're now coming in to a squad that is expected to compete and has a chance to win, maybe even a championship. How do you fit in a team like that, knowing that it's not exactly a rebuilding program, it's not a team where you can get 12 shots, 13 shot attempts per game because you're trying to figure out what works. Like, you will have a specific role that, Coach Jeff will give you, and you will have to fit in with that role. So how is that process going?
That process is actually going well right now. As I mentioned earlier, still at, let's say, adjusting stage, because I'm back to a point where I'm playing with the team A, again, because last year during my residency year I was only playing with the scouting team. So yeah, still trying to fit in, see what I can contribute with my skill set go. And then if there's anything that coach or my teammates wants me to do, you need to work on this, work on that, then I'll work on it. Yeah, yun po.
Well, fantastic. It's nice to know that you have that mindset. You will have
Yeah.
to have that mindset when you're
Yeah.
playing for Coach Jeff and the coaching staff. Now, what's it like being an NU student athlete? One aspect I appreciate about the NU fan base is they're very low key, but they're very passionate, and they support the Bulldogs. Maybe it's not always super noticeable, but when the Bulldogs are competitive, they do come out, the fans. I remember in 2014 when NU made the final round. I'm not sure. I'll have to go back to confirm this, but the attendance record was broken at the Smart Arena at the Coliseum at one point, or at least like it hit more than 24,000 because so many fans of NU showed up. And to FEU's credit, the FEU fans did also. Are you excited to play for this community? Have you felt the love or support from students, alumni, and other members of the university also?
Yeah, when it comes to studies, my classmates are really supportive and they're really understanding. So every time there's for example, a project or a task that needs to be done, and busy at that point, then they would always understand. Especially the Final Four game, seeing that many white shirts with the NU signs, really gave me literal goosebumps, like goosebumps ko dun, and I really really wanted to play. And ever since the first game versus UE, I said to myself, "Oh my gosh, I can't wait to play in this." Kasi sobrang supportive talaga ng NU community. Every time they do their chants, do their screams, always gives me goosebumps. Makes me like shiver, like talaga, like sobra. Like the NU community makes you feel loved and makes you motivated to play even more.
Who have you guys faced in tune-up games so far over the last few weeks since natapos yung season? You faced CSB. Nakalaban nyo na din ba yung Ateneo and other teams?
The big schools like Ateneo or UP and LaSalle, we haven't faced them, but yeah, we've had quite a few, mostly from NCAA schools, and one was Bay Area Dragons.
Mhm.
Let's not talk about the score. The one we had yesterday, we had a game against Zamboanga Valiant. I think Zamboanga Family Sardines from MPBL.
Ah,
Sila
so
ABJ sila Pilino.
hindi yung Zamboanga ng ABL kung there was a Mario Chalmers.
Yeah, no, it was with the Marcelino twins sila.
Right.
Yeah, I think in total we had like 7 or 8 tune-ups na so far, and so far so good naman.
So you're a Filipino passport holder.
Yes po.
Okay. Because technically you grew up in the Philippines naman, 'di ba? Or did you used to visit London from a young age na?
I actually didn't have a permanent home because konting life story. So
Okay, go
I,
for
I,
it.
I was born in Bacolod City, and then when I was 7 years old, I moved to the UK, and then when um, when I turned 12, moved to Cebu with family. That's where I started to play like basketball competitively. And then the pandemic came in, back to the UK, and then yeah, last year 2022 here in Manila now.
So you are really well traveled. Now there are good sides to that and there are challenging sides as well. When you reflect on it now, you're still technically a teenager, but also you're becoming a young adult. And before you know it, in a few years, you're gonna be done with college, done with the UAAP, you'll be making a life out for yourself. You already kind of are. You can make that point considering basketball players, their careers start younger than other career paths. But when you look back on your life, all the traveling, making new friends each place you go to, Bacolod and then Cebu and then London, different lifestyles, and then Manila and then back there and then back here. all the traveling, all those journeys, how has that shaped the person you are now? Like, what parts of your personality has been determined by the fact that you have been through so much?
I guess it made me become a much more tougher person because the fact that I'm always saying goodbye to my loved ones, it made me strong and made me feel more like motivated because like every time I travel, it's for mostly basketball naman talaga. So saying goodbye makes me stronger, makes me more hungry, makes me want to work harder. So hopefully lahat ng mga goodbyes ko maging worth it para sa family and yun sa mga friends ko din.
Definitely. What can we expect from your performances this season? Do you feel like you're going to be a go-to scorer? Do you feel like you're going to be more of a playmaker? What do you envision yourself being like?
Whatever Coach Jeff wants me to do lang. I don't want to be that person na does things off the coaching board. Just ano lang, see what Coach Jeff wants me to do. Play within the system. See what I can contribute lang.
Your parents are still currently in the UK.
Opo.
Do you get to talk to them regularly?
Oh yeah, um, they're always messaging me. They're always calling me. So especially only child lang din ako. So they're
Oh, wow. Only child. So, ikaw yung baby, ikaw yung panganay, ikaw lahat. Exactly. So, clearly when your parents call you, of course, you'll talk about basketball, diba? But it's not gonna
yeah.
be all about basketball. Do your mom or dad give you any life reminders now that you're technically, well, you've been living alone, I'm sure, but then
Yeah.
now that you're like all the way here and they're there, what do they love reminding you about when you talk to them?
Actually, quite a lot. Especially my dad. He always tells me to, like drink your vitamins, sleep early. They have this favorite line that they always say, like, be vigilant. They always say that.
Okay. Smart.
Yeah. Kasi there's sometimes overthinking situations here in the Philippines, which it's kind of funny sometimes. But yeah, they say quite a lot, and it makes me feel happy knowing that I have my two very important people in my life who like really show care and love for me kahit malaya sila.
You're an only child, diba? And you traveled a lot, so you had to make a lot of new friends. And then you had to move countries. And then first you
Yeah.
committed to UST, and then you committed to NU.
And
So you haven't really had siblings your whole life. I'm not sure if you had cousins. Maybe you did. But you haven't really had siblings. You've been, like I said, an only child, kind of like figuring things out for yourself, doing a lot of things by yourself. Do you feel now at NU that you've kind of built up that brotherhood that you may not have had before?
oh yeah, most definitely. I knew Nash since Cebu days, so it was a good thing, and especially Bisaya lang din si Nash, and there's other Bisaya there like sila John Galinato, Patrick Yu, etc. It was good knowing na may fellow Cebuanos din ako, and then I also made new friends, yung mga Tagalog friends ko, mga Kapampangan friends. So you can really say if you stay for in the dorm for like two days, you'd really see na may brotherhood talaga dun sa NU.
Nice, nice. LA Casinillo, he will make his debut with the NU Bulldogs in season 86. We're all very excited to see what he's capable of. He's got a good jump shot, good size for a point guard, learning to be a defender.
Yeah.
Can pass to his teammates, and like he says, will do what the coaches ask of him to do. Partly also because he has no choice, because Coach Jeff Napa will make sure that he will be followed. Before I let you go here, LA, let's play a quick round of rapid fire. Okay, I'm going to ask you some questions, quick random questions. Now, I didn't prepare these questions. Just going to ask you things at the top of my mind as well. But the rule is you have to answer right away. You don't have a lot of time to think of your answer. Kailangan ano yung unang pumasok sa isip mo, yun yung sasagot mo. Okay? Are you ready?
Okay. Yes.
Ready? All right. Okay. Hardest player to guard in the Bulldogs?
Ken Baclan.
Ooh, okay. Tell me a story about Steve Nash Enriquez that shows how funny he is.
He's always making fun of you. Kahit every little thing, he's always watching you. So especially me, yeah, he loves to make fun of you.
Something about Coach Jeff Napa that people don't know.
Think of one. I don't know. I can't think of one. There's nothing on my mind for that one.
Okay, we can go back to that. Something you miss from the UK.
For the food,
Oh, which one in particular?
sausage.
Okay. Favorite part about being in the National University campus?
The friendliness of the students.
Okay. Favorite UAP player from another team you were excited to go up against?
Evanelli.
Oh, okay. Which team in the UAP do you want to beat the most?
UP.
Oh, bakit? I'm curious. Why UP?
I don't know. Just I guess just wanna like avenge the yung Final Four na ano, na what happens Final Four.
Okay, okay. Ooh, best part of Bacolod since you stayed there for a while also.
The food, especially yung ano, yung
Manukan.
manokan sa Bacolod, yung the piyaya, the bizcocho, all those types of foods.
Tell me something about Cebuanos that people don't know.
We are very friendly. Yeah, yun nga, mga friendly talaga kami.
Okay, game on the line. Pull up jumper or drive to the rim?
Pull up.
Okay, favorite NBA player?
Luka.
Best team in the NBA?
Dallas.
Okay. NBA champion this season?
Dallas.
Favorite video game?
2K23. NBA 2K23.
Which team? Dallas then sa NBA 2K?
Dallas din. Dallas. Yeah.
Okay, favorite non-NBA 2K video game?
Call of Duty.
Okay. Ball is life, yes or no?
Yes.
Favorite subject in school?
Math.
Oh, okay. What's your course, by the way?
Marketing.
Marketing. Okay. Game night before a game. Let's say game nyo Sunday night, Sunday, and Saturday night, of course, the night before the game. Your girl asks you to go out on a date. Are you saying yes or no?
I'm saying no.
Okay, I like that. Let's leave it there. Thank you so much for your time, LA. Again, everyone will get to see LA Casinillo debut in season 86. It's going to be a great performance. Few performances, I would say, more than one, given what he's displayed so far in the Phil Oil preseason tourney. LA, thank you so much for joining me today,
Thank you
and
so much.
we look forward to seeing you play.
Thank you so much.
Okay, everybody, that was it for our episode. I hope you really enjoyed it. If you have any comments or if you want to talk about our latest episode, whether our intro at the beginning or the interview with LA, do reach out to me on social media. Always happy to talk about sports and other topics like pop culture, film, gaming, anything that you might think of under the sun. And of course, we just want to thank our sponsor, Get Blued. Again, if you want to support the Ateneo Blue Eagles, there's no better place to get your Team Ateneo gear than Get Blued. Check them out on Shopee Mall and Laz Mall. And hey, if you haven't sported that Ateneo Men's Basketball Championship t-shirt yet, now's a great time to do so. Get it from Get Blued as well. Cheers, catch you all next time.